So, here we are. You are there. I'm here. I'm saying you. I'm saying I. These are just pointers. These are pointers of what people have agreed to see. It's literally the education system that you're seeing depicted outside, or the lack of. But it's not that easy to see for the untrained eye, to see the cause and the effect of certain patterns of behavior, of certain, it can be anything. And so there are many different spiritual texts, theoretical texts of how reality is and is not, and different archetypes, and like there are so many things. But what's different about what we have come to comprehend and translate is that we are operating the body from the inside out. That means that we are listening primarily to what's happening on the inside of our own body to determine what's going on in the reality. This is called intuition, is what you call it usually. Or people are unsure of what this is. Like, on some levels, it's being sort of like, oh yeah, it's just witchy, like there are many different categories for different things. But we are here to open up your mind so that you can be in complete self-autonomy of your own energy. Because these boxes, they are compartmentalizations within the human consciousness that creates compartmentalization outside. Everything has a connection in consciousness. Whenever you are wherever you are in consciousness, everything has an effect. What is considered safety is when nothing moves. And so there can be many tactics if what's happened on the outside doesn't jive very well with what is desired on the inside. And there can be some mixing up of certain signals there. You call that trauma, but you don't have to call it that. It's just, there's just a miswiring inside of the human system. And this wiring is something that can actually quite easily be fixed with some awareness and some training and some consciousness shifting. This is, anything can be changed. Any situation that you find yourself in, anything. Once you have the right perspective, you can shift anything. Once you see this energy world accurately, it's much easier to trust in that. Because that's what's missing in today's society. Is the true settling into trusting that Gaia actually does provide for you. You don't have to grind as much as you think that you need. It's important to take breaks It's important to give the body wonderful experiences so that the body starts to develop desire for life again. That's really it. We have been a little bit bad at that, us with the body. That's something that the reason why this is coming up. But today we have spent many hours just going in and out of a pool, sort of like a cenote pool. That was very delicious. That we haven't done in so long. And so Gaia nudged us, is what we say. We got guided to go there. And what we always discover when we do that is that, first of all, we see that we should have done it. We should do it much more often because it brings much more enjoyment, which in turn brings much more pleasure into the actual creation. And that makes things fun, which makes things manifest, which you know, everything has a correlation. So yes. So we allowed ourselves to receive. And it was actually quite, there was a moment with a really, a child actually, that was a little bit special in the way that she saw reality. And it's very fascinating how she was so perceptive and just could sense the trust in our energy. That was really special to experience, because it's like, it says a lot on how much we have shifted our energy, and we can feel it too, because we can feel much more energy, and it's constantly upgrading little bit by little bit. So there's a continuous sort of peeling off as we're doing these higher lives. This is what is the remedy for us every single day, to do that. And we channel every single day to course correct the human consciousness back into alignment with what we call the holistic perspective, which includes very much the most actually is the knowledge of the body and Gaia and how this all works. It's sort of like the missing link, which people think is so unconscious, that we are bringing to the awareness so that you can work with this on the inside yourself. And so we're guiding that process. And if you want to have an experience of what we're talking about and how to align the knower and the feeler, we have a practice called Hey Alive that we host weekly. And if you want to participate in one of these, you can do that through streaming and also in person. And so we have a link somewhere that you can find, and there should be a WhatsApp group there that you can join if you want to have that experience. So join that WhatsApp group, and then we'll send you a link, usually 24 hours before, something like that, just when everything is ready, and then yeah, you can sign up. All right, that's what we wanted to share for now. Remember to receive. Remember to receive. You know, it doesn't really matter what way that you practice learning to receive. If you just do it yourself, you know, going to somewhere to just relax and receive, just the nourishment from a pool and the sun is like wonderful. Or if you go to a spa or whatever you want to do, right? It doesn't matter, as long as your body is enjoying it. Because what happens then, especially if you are in unbalanced the way that we usually are, which is that we're working too much, and so it's important to inject sort of relaxation, because then the intuition works better. The collaboration between the feeler and the knower works better, and that's what we're here to guide people, if you wish to learn this way. So this is what we are dedicating our entire life to, actually, because it is what helped us through the most challenging situation of our life, where we felt like we were just going against everything, and we were so used to pleasing people, you know, pleasing the feminine particularly, because we just always needed to be something. It wasn't really, we didn't feel safe to really be who we were. So we didn't know. We didn't know that. We didn't know that when we were in it, in this dualistic perspective. That's why we're talking about it so clearly, because we can tell which ones are in it still and which ones are out of it, because we have gotten ourselves out of it. And it's not many beings that have actually come in and made the switch. Maybe momentarily in like an ayahuasca ceremony or something like that. Yeah, great. But this is more than just a one ceremony thing. You have to find your practice and dedicate yourself to it. It doesn't matter what it is, just whatever works for you, whatever Gaia is being called through you. That's what this will do for you, and so that you can find that voice. And less of this, all this noise. There's so much noise now that it's more important than ever to integrate back into your own mothership, so that you can receive your next step forward in your consciousness evolution. So we hope to see you there, and we'll talk to you again in the next one. Ciao.